Hello friends, welcome back to Engineering Today, and we're back with some interesting SpaceX updates again. Today we have 3 such updates, starting with the update of the first orbital-class Starship's tank farm. We'll move to updates on the Crew Dragon's new plans, and we'll end with the topic of SpaceX's plans to debut business in India. So let's start our business with an interesting SpaceX update, where their first orbital-class Starship tank farm is near completion. SpaceX teams have been working on the orbital tank farm since early 2021, and nearly 5 to 6 months after start, they're heading for completion. We already know that SpaceX is building this orbital tank farm with their custom-built tanks. Recently, they added another ground support equipment, GSE tank, to their tank farm. This new tank is the GSE-8 tank. A report says that this GSE-8 tank will be used for storing liquid methane in the orbital tank farm. If we look back in SpaceX's orbital tank farm development history, we'll see by April 2021 they've completed building and installation of the first 2 GSE tanks. Another tank was also installed. Then the growth became sluggish. Back in August, they started sleeving the GSE tanks with cryoshells. Later, 3 more GSE tanks were built and installed in the tank farm. With this, they've completed installation of 6 propellant storage tanks. By early September, SpaceX teams added the 7th tank. But due to some reason, they scrapped one of the 7 tanks, and as a result, they brought forth the 8 GSE tanks on the 7th of October. Mary of Boca Chica Gal tweeted, "GSE-8 tank has arrived at the orbital tank farm, and Big Bucky is prepared to attach it." Now SpaceX has almost completed the storage part. If we left out the installation procedures, according to a report, the present tank facility can be able to support only 1 launch of Starship at a time, and the second launch will require almost full refilling of the tanks. Out of the 7 propellant storage tanks, 3 tanks are meant for liquid oxygen, 2 tanks meant for liquid methane, and the remaining 2 tanks for liquid nitrogen. Report says that this present storage facility can easily store 4,000 tons of liquid oxygen, 2,400 tons of liquid methane, and 2,600 tons of liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen will be used specially for controlling the temperature of the propellant. SpaceX has already started construction of a liquid oxygen and liquid nitrogen plant near their Starbase factory, which will help in speedy refueling of the orbital tank farm, ultimately helping to push up the number of orbital Starship launches. Besides having plans for refilling the orbital pad tanks with tanker trucks, which is a long, time-consuming process, SpaceX engineers have also planned to directly connect the orbital tank farm to the propellant production factory with the help of cryogenic pipelines. The system will ease up the refilling process and reduce pressure on the tanker trucks. But presently, SpaceX will use the tanker trucks and will heavily rely on it until the new propellant production factory becomes ready to supply fuel through pipelines. While talking about the tank farm, we can see that the tanks are not fully ready to receive propellant. Before going to the refueling process, SpaceX teams have to complete the plumbing work of GS-8 and some other tanks. Report says that still 2 tanks haven't received their cryoshells, thus sleeving them with the cryoshells as the next work, and at last they'll have to fill up the internal gap between the tanks and cover cryoshells using an insulative material named perlite. SpaceX have already gathered a lot of perlite to carry out the installation procedure in a fast manner. Now, though a good deal of work is left, it's expected that the orbital tank farm will become ready within a couple of weeks to carry out Super Heavy's cryo-proof and static fire test. Let's now move to our next SpaceX update on Crew Dragon's new space capsule. In the briefing before the 3rd operational astronaut launch of the Crew Dragon, NASA and SpaceX delegates bring out some more information about the spacecraft. Sarah Walker, the Dragon Mission Management Director, spilled the information about how NASA's upcoming Crew 3 mission will introduce a new capsule of Crew Dragon, most likely to be named C-210. Falcon 9 booster B-1067 will carry this capsule into space. This will be the second time that B-1067 will take astronauts on a commercial rocket. In April 2021, it was the first SpaceX flight with NASA astronauts on a flight-proven booster. They used Falcon 9 B-1062 as a part of the second operational crew launch of Crew 2 Dragon. Later, during the launch of Inspiration 4, the same trend of launching a flight-proven launcher on an orbit-proven capsule was sustained. This newfound method will be continued by the Crew 3 flights, too. The flight is scheduled at 2:43 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the 30th of October. If the launch goes successful, it will mark how SpaceX has launched a greater number of Dragon crews with flight-proven Falcon 9s instead of the new boosters. Crew 3 might not be the third crewed launch of a flight-proven Dragon, yet it has a significant role to play. It's going to debut a new vehicle. The Dragon 2 capsule, C210, will be the third Crew Dragon to join SpaceX's fleet of other tow capsules. The new capsule will join other crew capsules, C206, Endeavour, and C207, Resilience. According to sources, another new Crew Dragon capsule will be introduced with the launch of Crew 4 during April 2022, adding one more capsule to the fleet. All the capsules are designed to serve at least 5 NASA missions and are expected to be used by SpaceX for at least a few years. If the number of flights cannot be increased from 5 and the demand for Crew Dragon capsules remains high in the later half of the 2022, then there might arise the need for new capsules in the fleet. If the Starliner becomes operational by 2023 and the ISS is operated till 2030, there can be the launch of one NASA Crew Dragon by SpaceX annually in the upcoming decade. Other than crew updates, Walker from SpaceX also threw some light on the company's plans about debuting another 2 new Cargo Dragon 2 spacecraft on its CRS-24 and CRS-25 missions. This will raise SpaceX's uncrewed Dragon fleet to 4 capsules. Now, since the ISS is operational, the company will go on sending 2 cargoes a year, which might lead to the requirement of almost 18 Cargo Dragon launches by 2030. Current scenarios clearly indicate that Dragon will continue operating not less than the next 5 to 10 years. Moreover, it seems that in less than a year, SpaceX's fleet of reusable Dragon spacecraft will double itself from 4 to 8 capsules. Now let's take a look at today's final update on SpaceX, where Starlink is planning to make its debut as an internet provider in India. SpaceX's Starlink is about to debut in India. The company is appointing Sanjay Bhargava as the county director of Starlink. Bhargava recently made a post on LinkedIn in which he announced how SpaceX will focus on the rural constituencies of the Lok Sabha initially. The Broadband India Forum, however, has objected to this initiative. They argued that SpaceX lacks an authorized license to provide internet service in India. The organization is independent forum. Some companies under the forum are trying to launch their own competing services. After launching a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites in 2019, SpaceX wanted to use them to deliver high-speed internet to remote regions of the world. Their main aim is to create a mega constellation of 30,000 satellites. In the present day, the company provides services to more than 14 countries. One of the tweets from SpaceX CEO in August said how license applications are pending in some countries. Besides SpaceX, other companies are also bringing themselves up in this field of competition. Another internet satellite company is OneWeb, co-owned by Indian multinational Bharti Enterprises. This company is also part of the Broadband India Forum. After the education system shifted to online modes due to the pandemic, the inequalities in the internet system became evident. This lack of internet affects not only the students but a large section of the people. Private companies show no efforts in laying down cable networks required for broadband internet in rural areas. This is the reason why Starlink needs to come to the picture. The journey, however, won't be easy. Starlink will need to overcome a lot of hurdles in order to start its work in India. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your valuable feedback in the comment section. This will help us to improve.